Mano, eu tô no porta-mala do cara. Meu Deus do céu. Telefone. Tá, eu posso discar o número. Mano, e quem puder, já se inscreve no canal, deixa o seu like, beleza? Eu esqueço de pedir às vezes, mano. Mas dá uma força aí. Tá, se ele forçar um pouquinho o porta-mala, dá pra sair, hein?
Hello,
Verne?
Copernicus. Is that you?
Sim, me ajuda a sair daqui.
Let me guess. You've gotten yourself into some kind of jam, swinging by your toes over a tiger cage?
Tudo que eu sei é que estou preso no porta-mala de um carro.
Locked in a trunk? That doesn't sound like part of your dream. How'd you manage that?
É uma longa história.
Well, don't say I didn't warn you. You've sworn to deceive me, Vern. I'm going to feed the birds now. I
Ele
want
tá
to know the
bolado
truth.
comigo, mano.
Look where that got you.
Tá, já falou o que tinha que falar.
Speaking of which, did you find the box, Copernicus?
Aquela trancada, sim. Tava na caixa de correios.
Have you opened it yet?
Não encontrei a chave.
Figure out a way to open that box, Copernicus. Inside, you'll find out who you really are.
Isso vai me ajudar a encontrar um homem com muitos olhos?
Don't mess with him, kid. He's the final gatekeeper. Way too strong. You need to learn the spell first, before you can go up against him.
Encantamento? Que encantamento?
Hey, if I knew it, I'd tell you. But let's start by getting you out of that box. Lucky for you, I've got my farmer's almanac here. Let's have a look. Hang on. See, cabbage,
Ué, o Verne está
caraway,
cantando.
carrot,
Pelo amor de Deus,
car
cara.
trunk. First thing you should do is reach around for the latch. Sounds kind of obvious.
É, não tem fechadura.
Okay, next step. See if you can scare up the brake lights. Can you find them? It's a little gizmo with some wires. Okay. Yank on the wires and try to pull the lights into the trunk with you. Got them? What color are the lights? We need a green light, kid. A steady green light. That's the way forward. Gotta run now. Good luck to you, kid.
Pera aí, como assim? Tá, calma aí, mano. Ah, meu Deus do céu. O que eu tenho que fazer aqui? Não. Ó, beleza. Como assim, velho? Eu vou fazer um teste. Não pode ser azul ali. Ali não pode ser azul. Então, não pode ser mais também. Cara, mas como assim? Então, eu vou botar esse daqui. Tá, e agora? Assim? Cara, tá errado, velho. Ó, ligou. Mano. Esse daqui eu não tô entendendo. Não pode ser azul nem mais. Caramba, senhor. Ai, ai. Não sei. Esse aqui não pode ser verde nem azul. Então eu posso ligar esse aqui também. É da mesma coisa. Ah, deu! Consegui! Olha, eu saí na frente do nada. Olá?
ما أدري شو تسوي بسيارتي بس من خبرتي بهذا المكان راح تسح بعدين.
Português?
English. آسف ما أدري هاي مو صدق بس أنا أشعر به كاني من صدق حجة سعر.
Espera.
كل شيء
Espera,
هنا
cara.
إلها دلالة ورمزية السترن
Eu não consigo te
الجير
entender.
والقرن على الدشبول.
Eu não consigo te
هسه
entender,
حتى لو
cara.
أحد
Pelo amor de
إيدي من
Deus.
السترن السيارة من كيف تمشي عدل.
Cara, para.
إيه معود على كيف.
Ei.
أريد أوقف.
Mano, o que eu vou fazer com esse cara aqui? Como eu vim parar aqui, velho? Como eu vou traduzir o cara? Foi mal. Como é que eu faço?
I'm sitting here, my gaze is drifting over the horizon.
Você tá falando português agora.
English? No, sorry. I could of course back in the real world.
Mas você tá falando em português agora.
To me, this sounds like Arabic. I guess it depends on one's perspective. Anyway, as long as you're not going to start shouting at me again, it's an improvement.
Você me sequestrou?
Kidnap you? I don't think my singing is that bad.
Como eu acabei preso no porta-malas?
How would I know? It's not even my car.
Então o cara roubou o carro ainda. Por que você tá dirigindo então?
No idea.
Mano, como assim, cara?
I find myself behind the wheel here night after night. And the trunk, that's my dream too. You don't want to know how many hours I've spent in there, trying to shift my legs to keep them from falling asleep.
Eu sei que você é o próximo guarda.
What do you mean? Whose guard? Yours?
Todo motorista aqui no final eu descubro que já nos vimos antes.
Now I know you must be an English speaker. The only people in the world convinced that every story revolves around them. Who are you anyway?
Oxi. Eu que perguntei primeiro. Qual o seu nome, aliás?
I'm not sure actually.
Mano, o cara tá perdidão
But
também,
here,
velho.
It's funny. On this highway, everybody calls me Al-Shatir.
Por que isso seria engraçado? Me chamo de Corpênico.
Copernicus, huh? Suddenly, this doesn't seem so arbitrary.
Por que diz isso?
Never heard of Ibn al-Shatir? A famous astronomer. I guess you don't learn about him in your schools. One of the forefathers of astronomy. In many ways a predecessor to...
Corpênico? Copênico?
Yes, that's right.
Engraçado. Esse é meu nome. Aqui, pelo menos.
Copernicus, Al-Shatir. Two iconoclasts from different lands who challenged the belief that the sun revolves around the earth. Two dreamers who had the conviction that the unique is not the only thing in the center of the universe. Maybe you're not just part of my story, like I'm not part of yours. You were trapped in the trunk, where I've been many times. It's like you've wandered into my dream, and I've wandered into yours.
Mano, o que tá acontecendo? Acho difícil de entender. Como isso é possível?
How should I know? Somehow the streams have crossed. Disturbance in space-time continuum.
Então, sobre o que tá sonhando? Sobre o que você tá sonhando, né? É bem difícil acreditar nisso.
Takes a leap of faith, I know, to admit that we both exist.
Então você também tá procurando algo?
Me? Yes, safety. A place far away from wars. From bombings. From the cockroaches that crawl out as soon as the dust settles. On the news, you hear only about armies and religious madmen. But it's the gangsters that drove me away. They're the ones who did this to me.
Como você veio parar nesse lugar?
I'm one of the ones who didn't make it. Not all the way. I'm stranded somewhere in between, trying to complete the journey every night in my sleep.
Como essa jornada começou?
The El Mahdi army. They called themselves an army anyway. They were looking for my brother-in-law, because he worked as a translator for the US military. Neighbors warned us we should move, and so we did, twice.
2 vezes?
Yes, twice. No sooner had we moved the first time than neighbors started telling us that we should move again. That there were people looking for us.
Deve ter sido assustador. Então deu certo?
In the beginning, yes. A few years passed and we forgot about the threat. Life had returned to normal. And that's when they came back and picked me up. 2 days later, when I woke up in the Baghdad hospital, I found out that they dumped me off there and told the hospital that I'd hurt myself in a work accident.
Cara, tá escurecendo, cara. Então foi aí que você decidiu ir embora?
Yes. After that, I couldn't stay.
Conte sobre sua fuga.
The women in my family, my mother, my sisters, they were the only ones who knew.
Por que não os homens?
I was very close to the women in my family. They were the ones who were around all the times while I was recovering. The men, my father, my brothers, always working, always out of the house. I got on a plane to Istanbul, where my cousin lived. He took me to Izmir, where the smugglers are. They're easy to find. I bought a space on a vessel, headed to Mytilene, Greece, the closest harbor in Europe.
Que tipo de embarcação era? Você não ficou com medo de ser enganado e roubado?
No. They had a system that you would pay your money to a broker, and he'd give you a token. Once you go to the other side, you show the token. Only then does the broker pay the smuggler. We couldn't leave for 5 days. Too many Greek army ships in the sea. Every morning, getting up at 3:30 to make a go of it. By the 5th day, I was so tired of waiting that I wasn't even scared to get on board any longer. Finally, impatience had overtaken fear.
Me diz, o que aconteceu?
We did not make it to Europe. A boat pulls up next to us. People are trying to understand what's going on, but the men on the ship only speak Greek. At first, people are worried that it's pirates. They take everything from the passengers. Sometimes take the passengers themselves. Sometimes just ram the boat and laugh as it sinks. But no, these are police, it turns out. They take us back to Turkey, where I'm waiting, and waiting, and waiting. Of course, I did not remember all this in my dreams at first. These were things I remembered from clues I found along the highway.
Mano, ele tá igual eu. É isso que me soa familiar.
I've dreamed this highway, this car before, many times.
Por que você sonha com uma rodovia americana?
It's a good question. I had an uncle once who left Iraq many years ago to study engineering at the University of Bowling Green. I guess this made an impression on me. Who knows why we dream the things we dream? What is your dream about?
Não tenho certeza, talvez só sobre problemas de relacionamento.
A breakup? That's it?
Talvez sobre um sequestro ou algo pior.
Ah, that's more like it. Who has been kidnapped? Who's this person that's been taken away from you?
Minha mulher.
Do you have a photo? Who knows? Maybe I've seen her somewhere along this highway.
Vou pegar a foto.
I know her.
Huh?
The same woman, but with different hair color. I just saw her at the gas station a few miles back.
Ah, não. Ah.
An imposter? But she waits tables at Dante's, right? Betrayed by a friend. That's a familiar note to me. And yet, the waitresses at Dante's usually play it straight down the line. They can dish it out, but they only give you what you deserve.
Bom, eu pedi pra ela trocar de lugar com minha namorada.
See, that was your first mistake. In this place, it's important to see things for what they really are. Keep them pinned down. The moment you start shifting things around to suit your needs, well, you're like Pandora, opening the box.
Então, o que ela tava fazendo no posto de gasolina?
She was standing with two men. It looked tense, like she was defensive about something, explaining herself. I don't think they fully believed her.
Como eles eram?
One man was very in orange vest. He seemed to be in charge. Another shorter guy next to him. Mean looking, like a shrew.
Colete laranja. Então era tudo uma armadilha mesmo.
A trap? So, they were looking for you?
Acho que sim.
Sounds like getting in my dream. Getting in the trunk. May have saved your neck.
O líder, você percebeu se ele tinha uma pulseira com esferas?
No, I didn't get a look. I just heard one strange thing they said. That they were looking for a guy
8?
with 8 fingers.
Tá diminuindo os olhos.
They were going to find him. Something like
Ah não,
that.
8 dedos.
8 fingers. 8 digits maybe.
8 dígitos. Sou eu. É, eu tenho um número de telefone.
Uh-huh. And you wouldn't happen to have a strange blue box with you, would you?
E eu tenho, hein? Ah, mano, não sei o que eu falo. Eu vou mentir. Esse cara parece ser confiável, mas eu não sei. Não é bom confiar nas pessoas aqui. Ah, eu vou falar que eu tenho.
That was the other thing they mentioned. They have the key,
Eita, que isso?
but don't want the box opened.
Eu me pergunto por quê.
Well, if they were chasing you... Say, have you noticed how many tumbleweeds there are suddenly?
Bom, estamos no deserto. O que você quer dizer com isso?
I don't know.
Eita.
But the weather also seems to be turning suddenly. Turn on the
Cara, você vai me
radio
trair também, não
and
vai?
see if you can find a weather report.
Eita.
My God! Get that thing off the window!
Que
Get it
isso?
off!
Que
Get it
susto.
off! It seems to be changing the weather conditions.
Peraí, vou deixar de dia. Tá, e agora? Ah, tá, o volume.
Sunny skies. Sunny skies.
Então tem que deixar como?
Welcome.
Suddenly, it's sunny. It's not working. They're stuck to the car. We need some other kind of weather to get clear of them.
Chuva? Será que tem como fazer chover?
Level 3 thunderstorm.
Pera aí, vamos ver, ó. Deixa no
Level 3
escuro.
thunderstorm. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size
Aí.
hail. Damaging
Tem a
winds are
chuva
causing some
agora.
trees and large branches to fall.
Warning.
Looks
Tornado
like
60
tornado
feet from
conditions.
car.
Look, the tornado. It's starting to pull the tumbleweeds off the car, but it's not strong enough.
Tornado.
It worked. Oh, good riddance.
Doideira, hein, cara?
Look, that was very strange, even for this place.
É, concordo.
And the eyes on those things. It seemed they were spying, searching for something. Did you notice? What do you know about these guys? The ones who are after you?
O líder tem um monte de olhos, tipo uns 10.
Seems he had a few extra to spare for the tumbleweeds.
É por isso que eu tinha me perguntado sobre o bracelete.
I see. What else?
Bem, eu tenho um cartão de visita.
Oh, let's see. Balkan tours? Not directly, no. But I've heard about them. From a guy in Istanbul I met. He had made it through to Europe, but then had come back to get his family. But that's another story. He had come across these Balkan tours on his way back from Serbia. He warned everyone about them who would listen. Apparently, they had a charitable program to help refugees, promising to help them. But no one who accepted their help was ever seen from again. People just disappeared. And it wasn't just people in the refugee community either. Tourists too. There were strange stories.
Que tipo de histórias?
I only heard bits and pieces. Nothing very clear. Mirrors. Rooms full of mirrors. People losing their minds and never coming back.
O homem dos olhos espelhado. Parece horrível.
Yes. People who were heading from Turkey into Croatia and Serbia were being warned about it. Watch out for mirrors. Rooms full of mirrors. Rooms full of ice.
Preciso fazer algo para ajudar ela.
Well, my friend, I think right now the best thing you can do is run for safety. They probably have a good beat on your location, assuming the tumbleweeds were on their payroll.
Mano, esse cara aqui é confiável, parece.
These guys are dangerous.
É, o que de ruim pode acontecer comigo se isso tudo é só um sonho? Tá bem. O que você sugere então?
Honestly, I have no idea. But tangling with Balkan tours right now would be suicide. I mean, it's what they want, isn't it?
Sim, eles querem me prender e pegar a caixa.
Right. Where did you get the box? They must be worried about what's inside. Worried it will expose them, all the things they've done, to her and to all the other people they've hurt.
E aí, qual é o plano? Pra onde vamos?
I wish I knew. Even if I make it to my destination, I'm still not home. That's what it means to be an exile.
Pra onde a gente tá indo?
My niece, Nadia, used to ask me that question all the time. Where are you going, uncle? She was the only young person who knew I was leaving. Imagine, she knew when my father didn't. I was always mad at my sister for telling her. She would ask me that when I was putting her to bed.
E o que você respondia?
The only thing you can tell when a person that young asks you a question like that at bedtime. I told her the truth. Not the truth, but the truth wrapped in the blanket of a story.
Muito bom, cara.
There's a place where the river Tigris runs through Baghdad. A place called the Two-Story Bridge. When I was a kid, I would go fishing there and look out at the water and wonder where it all led. As a child,
Parece uma
I was
bunda.
told that the farthest place on the earth from Baghdad is a place called Fiji. I would train my eyes on the horizon and imagine that all the water led there, to the point where the sky met the earth. To my child's mind, Fiji was the place where the sky touches the earth. These people of Fiji, they must be very tolerant people to live in such a place where one has to stoop over at all times and can never stand up straight. Eventually, they resolved to leave and find a new home, where the sky was farther from the earth, where the pandanus tree can grow high enough to be woven. So, they left this land right under the sky, leaving behind those people so old and bent that they no longer cared to stand up straight. The other Fijians gradually moved away from the edge of the world, and the sky got a little higher, and then they found a marvelous place. It was fertile and lush, with excellent weather, an orange tree for every backyard. But there was one problem: earthquakes. Terrible earthquakes, as frequent as rains during the springtime in this country. All because the sky was still close to the earth. When there's thunder, it echoes off the roof of the sky and causes the ground to break. But the Fijians adjusted. They built their entire civilization out of rubber. Rubber houses with rubber beds that would sway during the quakes, with rubber restraints that would hold the sleeping Fijians tight while they dreamed. But Nadia didn't want a bedtime story about that. She wanted a story about good and evil, the kind of story children like. So I changed it for her to be about a Fijian princess called Nadia, who finds the source of all the earthquakes.
Mas você já disse que eram os trovões? O que aconteceu nessa versão de contos de fada?
So, Nadia finds a dragon hiding under the earth. A dragon with a splinter in its toe.
Ele tá igual o Hobbs procurando o cachorro dele.
The earth to break. Nadia slays the dragon and saves the people by uttering a magic spell. Konothi se auton.
O que ela disse?
Konothi se auton. It's actually Greek. Rolls right off the tongue, no? Okay, that was interesting. Can you say that again?
Conosce Seattle.
All the mirror eyes closed.
Esse encantamento que o Verne disse que eu precisava saber. Ah!
Seems like it. And look, that's not the spell's only power. The card. There's a phone number on it now.
Olha, mano, é mesmo.
Do you know what this means? I think you're ready to make a certain phone call.
Balbal cantou-os. É o mesmo número que estava no celular da minha namorada.
Ready to put your spell to use?
Sim, estou pronto.
Good. Do you have a phone? Even better. So, here's the plan. You call them and tell them you want to sign up for a tour.
Então, beleza,
Here's
mano.
the
Esse
thing.
cara é confiável.
If they act like they're taking you on a tour, everything is good. But if they've figured you out, they'll try to distract you while they kidnap you. Take it from me. They tell you someone you care about is in danger, but don't believe it. If everything's fine, then everything's fine. But if someone you know is in danger, it's a trap. Get out of there. Are you ready?
Certo, vambora.
Dial the number.
Ai, meu Deus do céu, eu tô nervoso, gente.
Yeah. Yep, what can I help you with?
Eu gostaria de uma excursão nas terras baldias.
That's a big park. You near the Argus gas station on Route 90?
Como você sabe?
It's the only area near the Badlands that gets decent cell reception.
Ah,
Alright, I'll pick you up in an hour.
vem me pegar?
You don't have a car, do you? Just guess from your voice.
Hã?
So, see you in an hour.
Onde vamos encontrar? Nos encontrar exatamente.
Don't worry about that. I'll be waiting for you once you land.
Que isso, cara? E vamos sequestrar, mano. Não tá tudo bem, não. Cara, já era, cara. Eu vou morrer.
So, it worked then?
Ei, tá sumindo.
Isn't that how these things normally work in the stories of this country?
Não, cara, que não some
Other
não.
character shows up, imparts some hard-earned wisdom, then conveniently fades away.
Não. Não some.
It's a few minutes before 3:30 in Istanbul. There's another raft waiting. Another try.
Ah, mano, boa sorte então, amigão.
Thanks. To you too. I think you'll be fine. You have allies all along this road, even in the cars of enemies. I've left something for you.
Ah, mano, o cara foi embora, vai. Ah, mano, que pena.
Hey, sorry I haven't written in a while.
Ah, o único cara confiável, mano. Ah, que coisa.